Mm, New day. Mm. New day, new way. Turn it up, leaning 15 minutes, let the change begin. Busy life, big dreams, so much noise in your ears. We cut straight through, make the next step clear. Thought for Thursday, real talk, real tools right now. In 15 we move the dial, simple steps, strong moves, you'll see how. Thought for Thursday, clarity that sticks, you'll feel it from insight to action, and impact that stays. Thought for Thursday, let's change a day.
Well, hello and welcome to Thought for Thursday. We have made it to a long weekend, and I hope that you feel some kind of relief. I hope that you're excited. I hope that you're spending some time this weekend, of course, remembering those who have sacrificed their lives or anyone in your life actually who you want to memorialize this weekend. We have a tendency to do that on Memorial Day weekend. So I hope that you will spend some time in reflection. I hope that you will spend some probably much needed time in rest and relaxation. Spend some time with family. We don't do that enough these days. And with all of the craziness and all of the busyness that is going on in our lives, we definitely need to make more time to do that. So I hope that you do that this weekend. As usual, we are here. Thought for Thursday is a program that we bring to you on Thursdays. And in a 15-minute period, we bring to you a pain point. And by the time we finish, we want to make sure that when you leave with at least 5 tools that are going to help you to be better, that are going to help you to get on the other side of what that pain point is. As you know, we've been doing a lot with the identity shift, the mastermind, the matrix, the whole model for that. And we've gone through all 4 of the pillars. And last week we celebrated, right? We celebrated the fact that we have at least begun some work in making things happen in that capacity and making things occur that's going to help us to do better, to be better, to walk out in a different space, to get a little closer to that thriving life, right? And not one in which we're just kind of going through the motions. So last week again, we celebrated the fact that we've at least hopefully got something done in that arena. And this week we're taking another look and we're saying, well, what does it entail? All right, we've gone through the things. I think I know what it is that I'm supposed to do. I know perhaps what the identity process looks like. I know what needs to be released, what needs to be rebuilt. I know that I have the capacity to rise, but where do I begin? Well, that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about what it looks like to do this work and the importance of what it looks like when you stop doing it alone. All right, because it's a process that really does need support. So, what does it look like? How are you feeling right now? Because this program is not one that you really complete and put on a shelf. It's something that you really kind of practice and you go through on a regular basis. It's a way of moving through the world. And as you know, my audience is predominantly women. And the women who live it, okay, most fully, this process, the women who live it most fully are not the ones who did the work once. Chances are you're doing it more than one time, right? Because you are refining. And sometimes you don't always hit it on the first run. And that's why I always say it's never too late to reinvent. You may reinvent so many times or a number of times. But again, the goal is to make sure that you are getting where it is that you want to get. So because it is ever evolving, if we want to put it in that in that context. Today, I really want to give you some support and give you some help and helping you to understand that there is a way to integrate this in your life, in your everyday life. So when there comes a need to kind of redo things, you can revisit these pillars and understand how it is that you should incorporate them. I'm going to share some things at the end also that you may want to hear about. So let's start here. I'm going to give you 5 tips. All right, 5 tips that are really going to help you in this process. What is the first tip? I want you to understand that you really have to make the daily check-in a non-negotiable. You have to make the daily check-in a non-negotiable. The whole shift process, this whole identity shift really doesn't maintain itself. It really kind of requires a daily moment of honest self-reflection, not an hour in your journal, not a deep coaching session every morning, but yeah, just probably an honest question every day. Which pillar needs my attention today? Am I looking at rebuilding something? Do I have to go back and kind of recognize something? Can I rise from whatever I'm dealing with? Am I at a point where I can celebrate something? I'm recognizing um, something perhaps that no longer fits. Am I holding on to something that I know I need to release? Am I showing up as the woman that I rebuilt? Or am I already starting to revert back to that old person out of habit? And we talked about how that can happen. Ask yourself that. And a tool would be to kind of set a daily alarm on your phone, for example, so that it will remind you, jar your memory. And you might even label that particular alarm, your shift check in. Whatever you want to do, set up something so that you are reminded to do that check in. And when it goes off, take 60 seconds to just kind of answer, which pillar is it that I need to really focus on today? Because that's really important. What else can you do to maintain and to make sure that you are going about this the right way and you're holding on to what it is that you've done? You're holding on and making that work effective, what it is that you've done, making sure that it shows up in your life and recognizing when there's a need to address and maybe tweak something. Second tool, recognize the new shifts as they come, because they're going to come, right? This is something that people may not always say about, you kind of getting to where you want to be and rising. Every new level really does bring a new version of the shift. So the identity that kind of served you beautifully, for example, in the rise, will kind of become the identity you need to recognize, release, and rebuild all over again sometimes. Not because you did something wrong. I don't want you to think that, but because you grew. We're ever evolving, right? The framework is not a one-time process. I can't stress that enough. It really is a lifelong thing. And each time you move through it, you go deeper and you go to a new level. So every 90 days, do a full identity shift, self-check. Again, the goal is to make sure you're still on track, you're still on schedule, you're doing the things that you're supposed to do, and the things that you want are sticking. Ask yourself what shifted since then. What new thing no longer fits? What new beliefs need to be released? All of that is important. What's the third tip? Well, I want you to stop waiting for the perfect moment to show up fully. You've been doing the work, right? You've heard all this stuff that I've been talking about, all the different phases. You've put in the work, you've looked at it, you've assessed, you've journaled, you've followed the tools, but you're still not totally showing up as fully as you can. You're still not being the best you that you can be. You're holding back. You should not have to wait, okay, until a future time in order to be the best that you can be, to truly be who you want to be. Now, that doesn't mean that who you want to be always occurs right in the time that you want it to, but you need to always be focused on that and working on it. So a practical tool for this, Identify one way that you've been holding back, for example, just this week. We won't go back any further than that. Just this week. One place where you have been giving a smaller version of yourself, a smaller version than you're really capable of giving. Okay. And this week, give that version your full attention. Give the version that you really need to be your full attention. Not everywhere at once. Kind of just one place, one full showing up, and notice what that produces for you. Another tip, something else I want you to think about to make sure all this stuff sticks and you realize when you need to make some tweaks. Let your story do let your story do work in the world. Let it do work in the world. So what do I mean? Rise is not just about your personal elevation. I frequently say that our journeys are ours. However, we have an obligation as we maneuver through, as we find those solutions to share with others. And that's what I'm talking about here. The fullest expression of integration is when your story stops being something that happened to you. Now, some of us with our stories, or certain pieces of it, we can't ignore the fact that it happened to us. But it stopped happening to you and it starts being something you use intentionally to create change for yourself, of course, but to create change in your space, in the world, in the places where you want to make impact, in your family, in your community, in your professional network, in the world, because it's not just yours. It belongs to every woman who is still standing where you were standing and trying to get to a better place. Please think of it in that way. And what's the fifth tool? Well, don't do the work alone. Don't do the work alone. I am going to be presenting some opportunities for you to be in community, some opportunities for you to really get down deep and dirty in the weeds and ensure that all of these things that we've been talking about and working on are being looked at to the fullest extent and moving and getting you moving in the right way. This is something that is so important. We need community, if not for anything else, but to let us know we're not the only ones dealing with this. We're not the only ones that need to make change. So, the women who shift the fastest, okay, and this is a proven statistic, this is a proven fact. The women who shift the fastest are those who kind of stick with one another. They're in community. And those shifts stick because you have the encouragement. You see that others are doing it. And sometimes just to see that someone else is doing it is all the encouragement that you need. You're held accountable. That's a big one for me in working in a group capacity. When you have that community that kind of sees you, they see you becoming, they know where it is that you're trying to go. They're trying to go to the place where they want to be as well. They have a tendency not to give up on one another, even in those hard days. So when you're in community and in smaller groups, intentional groups geared around this work, I like to create them as private groups, groups in which what you say in the group stays in the group, groups in which somebody can lock arms with you and help you move to the next level. And I've kind of started that within the JourneySociety. It's been around for a while, but in the recent months, I have been building and building and building. And I want you over there to be a part of the community that we are building, that's doing the mindset shift, that's doing the identification shift that we're talking about here. So you have to stay tuned so that you can get more information on that. So as we kind of wrap things up here, this tool is not meant to be a one-time thing. You use it, you do it, you go about your business, because you are in the business of making sure that the shift you have made will stick. So if that means redoing, revisiting, revamping, then that is what you want to focus on. It wasn't meant to be the framework you kind of live by right now, but it's available if you need it forever and ever and ever, because it's always refining, recognizing when the things no longer fit, releasing what doesn't help you, what doesn't profit you, releasing with grace and not with guilt, rebuilding with intention and clarity, and then rising again and again as you get more and more in tune with where it is that you need to be. It's a practice, is the bottom line. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. And the most powerful place for community is when women are doing the same work on the same level with the same commitment. Something is coming that's going to help you and encourage you in that way as well. All right. So how you make this thing stick? That's what we talked about tonight. It's okay if you have to redo some things. There's some tools and there's some reminders in there to make sure that you stay on course with the shift that you have made, the shift that we initiated. And many of you will need some additional support in making that shift happen. And stay tuned, because that support is on the way as well. So that's it for this segment. I want you to go out and be yourself, authentically you, with the best thumbprint, your thumbprint. Touch something with your uniqueness. Make it better for you. Be authentically you. Go out and understand that just as you are more than enough. In all that's going on in the world, make sure that you're looking at all times for your little piece of the corner that brings you peace of mind. And I encourage you in all that you do to always seek to be your optimal best, physically, mentally, and make sure that you always strive hard to be well.
New day. New day, new way. Turn it up, leaning 15 minutes, let the change begin. Busy life, big dreams, so much noise in your ears. We cut straight through, make the next step clear. Thought for Thursday, real talk, real tools right now. In 15 we move the dial, simple steps, strong moves, you'll see how. Thought for Thursday, clarity that sticks, you'll feel it from insight to action, and impact that stays. Thought for Thursday, let's change a day.